I'm back. What's going on, guys? Matt, aka Martilm here, and I am officially back doing some YouTube stuff. Today, I thought it'd be a real cool idea to jump in. I've had some requests to do a breakdown of a track from my recently released EP, Archives Volume 1. I've had a few requests to jump in and do a breakdown of the first track off that EP called Daydreamer. So as my first video back, I figured that'd be a cool idea. So let's jump right in. Alright, so this is the session for Daydreamer. As you can see, it's a pretty simple session compared to a lot of my other sessions, which if I'm going to be doing track breakdowns in the future, you will probably see that some of them are a lot more complex and in-depth than this one. But this is a really chill house tune. If you haven't had a listen to it, I will put a link somewhere up, maybe on the screen or in the description or something like that, so you can go and check it out. But yeah, let's just have a quick listen to the start of the song. Cool, so there's really only a few kind of main elements to this song. First off, let's just start with the drums, because that's the easiest thing to start with. Pretty simple, just a single drum rack here, and super kind of simple housey drum patterns and stuff at the start. Just got that hi-hat kind of coming in, and then later on it kind of goes into this more full pattern. So let's just play this pattern in the main crux of the song right here. Cool, so as you can see and hear, it's kind of simple, but it's a little bit complex at the same time. So breaking it down though, really simple, just a basic pattern where you got this kick on every beat, clap on every second beat, basic house kind of pattern, and then there's this open hi-hat on every offbeat as well, and some shakers too. So just like that, this kind of shaker sound, this hi-hat sound, clap sound, kick sound, and that is basically the core of the beat. And just around that, I've got some kind of little percussion bits structured to sound kind of interesting and stuff. I always like playing around with percussion, doing some interesting layers and stuff, like this little hi-hat thing right here, just kind of leading into that next bar really nicely, doing some cool stuff like that. And this beat just kind of carries on through the main core elements or core sections of the song, kind of builds up from the start, builds up even further, and then goes down towards the end after this little breakdown section right here. So the next main element of the song that we have is obviously these kind of electric piano-y Rhodes chords. Really basic kind of sound, just using Ableton kind of stock plugins here. I think I grabbed this old school Rhodes preset or whatever. I should also mention that this track is very old. I made it 3 years ago, and it only came out, obviously, you know, a month or so ago. But people have been really loving it, so that's why I'm doing a breakdown of it. So the sound itself, this is what that old school Rhodes sound started out like without this reverb and EQ and compression on it. Really basic, also got the sidechain kind of going on there. And then I added this little kind of operator, just adding some noise to it. Give it that kind of like lo-fi type feel. And then added some reverb, also some downsampling, redux on that noise, compression, EQ, sidechain, and then this little Max Humanizer plugin at the start, because I did play these all in, but then I quantized them all, and then to kind of give it that human-y feel back again, I thought, you know, let's kind of add in this Max Humanizer plugin, which is really cool. Basically what it does is it adds like a random amount of delay to the start of the MIDI notes. It's a MIDI effect. I think it came with Live 9 or something. You could probably download it if you have Max for Live. But that just kind of gives it, so without the Max Humanizer, oh, whoops. Everything kind of starts at the same time, but with it on, kind of like just subtly changes the positioning of the MIDI notes. And so throughout the song, this chord layer is layered with a different kind of detuned synth that kind of comes in the thicker, bigger parts of the songs, which sounds like this. Again, really kind of a basic sound. I was just mucking around with some operator. I've just got some saw wave going on here, some FM action. Saw wave being FM'd by a sine wave here, and then a square wave being FM'd with some noise, just to give it, again, that kind of a lo-fi characteristic. Add on some reverb, EQ, compression, and some sidechain, as well as a filter at the end of it. I guess the next thing to talk about really is the bass. Again, really super simple patch. Sounds like this. So this is like kind of what gives the song a lot of that groove, which I will talk about in a minute. I've got kind of some groove pulls going on as well amongst the different MIDI clips to give that kind of that bounce, that groove. But this bass line, this bass sound is really simple. I can turn off those operators. And what kind of gives this sound the most kind of characteristic is this pitch envelope that I've given it right here, which has some attack and decay on it and is going up quite a fair bit. And I'm just controlling the amount of it with this pitch envelope amount right here. So without that pitch envelope, it sounds like this, which is cool, but then it doesn't give it that kind of like slappy type feel, like human bass type feel, which is what I wanted for this kind of groovy type song. So that's why I added the pitch envelope and made it sound like this. Which is really cool. Next up, we've got this little ARP line that comes in later on in the song, sounds like this. So the way I made this, I just got some kind of a random preset and added in some effects, delay, reverb, filters, EQs, that kind of stuff. Again, that little Max Humanizer plugin at the start. But what I actually did, I grabbed the chord progression, the MIDI chord progression from the Rhodes keyboard, copied it there, pulled in a arpeggiator plugin, and this is what I'll do pretty often. But because the chords and the melodies and everything like that had that kind of bounce to them, that groove that I'd added, got like a groove pull over here in the swing. If I just had that straight arpeggiator on there, it would be a very straight sound. So what I did, I took this MIDI, had the arpeggiator on it, and then I would re-record this MIDI into another MIDI channel. So I just create another MIDI channel and then make it receive input from that MIDI channel, hit the arm button, and then I would just record in that MIDI that was playing from that arpeggiator. Whatever. And then you can see it's really straight. What I'd do then is, now that I've got this kind of MIDI in there, I would go to the groove and then apply the groove that I'm using on the rest of the on the tracks to make it so that this ARP kind of swings and grooves along with the rest of the track as well. One more kind of instrumental element before I get into like some composition chordy kind of stuff. I've got this little operator kind of synth effects thing that comes in twice throughout the song when the chords kind of just have some time to breathe without any drums, and it sounds like this. So basically all I've got here, really simple kind of patch going on. Again, just some operator, because operator is awesome. And just using a user wave, kind of put in some random harmonics and stuff, and modulating it with a sine wave, and then some noise as well. But the two main kind of elements of this sound really are the LFO on the filter that's in operator that is just kind of free. It's not synced to the tempo at all, so you get a kind of a weird, interesting kind of thing going on. And then this auto pan, which is at a rate of 1/24th, so it's kind of like triplety almost, but it's so fast that it doesn't really kind of matter whether or not it's in time or not, and that gives it that width that's going on there, as well as this reverb as well. So in the context of the tune, it sounds like this. Pretty cool. So the last thing I really want to talk about in this tune, as I said, it's a really simple tune, is the chords, the chord progression, because that's honestly the kind of element of this tune that is the most forefront. There's no real melody or anything. It's just a real chilled out tune with a cool kind of chord progression in there. And really, all we've got are like 3 or 4 chords. We're starting here on a C minor 9 chord. So we've got the C, E flat, G, B flat, and D. And the kind of the offbeat start to it is what gives this tune a lot of that groove. And then what we have going with this Rhodes patch as well is actually end up being mimicked in the bass and a lot of the other elements, which give it that kind of, gives it that bounce up and down. But these high notes here come in at different or alternating points every bar. So you'll see in this first bar, it comes in on the offbeat of the 4th beat, and in the second bar, it comes in on the last 16th note of the bar. So you end up getting something that sounds kind of like this. Really cool stuff. And so this C minor 9 chord then just kind of goes down a step to a B flat major 9 chord with that little E flat added there, and then those 2 chords form up most of the tune for the first little part of it, and then when it kind of kicks in, we add in a few more chords. So then after this B flat chord and the first time, this new chord, this A flat major 9 chord comes in. That's when we bring in that operator patch that I talked about before. So we have the B flat that then goes to this A flat major 9 and then has this kind of jump back up to this C minor 9 again. And then we kind of get a little bit of a different kind of chord going on here. So we have this D minor 7 chord here, which sounds really cool after this C minor 9. And then you get this G dominant chord right here with the E flat over it that gives it that kind of tension. So the full chord progression sounds like this. And that's pretty much the chord progression for the whole tune. Really simple. And like I mentioned, in this bass part, we have the kind of bass runs somewhat mimicking those top notes that come in those chords as well. Especially on this A flat chord. Gives it that bounce, gives it that nice kind of groovy feel. And that's pretty much the tune. There are a few other elements in here that are not super important. I could go into more depth, but I don't think it's hugely necessary. I've got some tom fills here that sound pretty cool. Just mucking around. I had a bunch of different tom sounds in a drum rack, put them in here, panned them all differently, so you get some weird kind of cool movement in the song before beats drop back in, etc. Drum fills are a really good way to add that interest and create that kind of sense of journey into the next section or whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed this track breakdown of my track Daydreamer from Archives Volume 1 EP that I released a few weeks ago. You can check it out. I'll put a link in the description or on the screen or something like that, and let me know what you think of it, as well as letting me know what kind of content you want to see. If you liked this video, if you didn't, what I could do better, if you want to see more track breakdowns like this, anything along those lines. I'm going to be planning to post every kind of 2 weeks or so, just to start with. We might ramp it up later on, but hopefully you guys enjoy these videos and you get some good stuff out of it. So that's it for this one. You can go and check out any of my previous videos. Most of them are still relevant. There's a video of mine of making like a snare drum using Operator, which has got like 1,500 views or whatever, which people are finding really popular. So go check that one out. I'll put a link to that somewhere on the screen as well. But in the meantime, hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.